In the UK, at the time of filming, there is a massive storm blowing outside. It's called Storm Arwen, apparently. Now, this isn't a weather report, but it did get me thinking about the weather, and so in this video, I'm going to show you how I made my very own snowy window background. Like this. The idea is that this is going to go in my magical man cave on a TV as a realistic but ultimately fake window, and I'll eventually be able to wave a magic wand. Okay, all my wands are packed up, so I'm using this pen. Wave a magic wand and change the weather from a normal day to a sunrise or midday or nighttime, or make it snow and even a stormy night. I've got so many ideas here, and you can make your own by following this video. So click that like button right now, subscribe and ding that bell because it's all coming up right after this. Hi everyone, welcome back to my magical man cave. I'm Neil, it says so down there. I'm going to be your magical host, and in today's video I'm talking through the first part at least of how I made this magical scene and what more I'm planning to do. Now, the magical window is going to sit in my magical man cave, which is a wizard themed pub, or is going to be, but it's also going to act a bit like a Tardis, so bigger on the inside, being able to move through time and space. Well, that's the illusion anyway, so let's get started. Before we get started though, we need to write a list of all the weather conditions that I want to cover, and if you want a little something special, and I do, let's add that too. Okay, so first up, let's explain how to set all of this stuff up. You're going to need an image. Now, I used this one. It's a license-free background that I found online. At least I hope it's not copyrighted, but it doesn't appear to be. Either way, I'm not planning on selling it for anything. It's purely for my use in my magical man cave. Next, I plopped it into Photoshop to remove the background, and this was much easier than you might expect, simply because these mountains help a lot. So start by duplicating and then deleting the background. This ensures that it's got a transparent background. Now, these mountains are pretty sharp edged, and so taking the cutting tool is fairly straightforward to trim around them and then delete this section, and so it goes transparent. And all you then need to do is to export it as a transparent PNG. You also need a selection of skies or sky backdrops, and then drop that whole lot into Adobe Premiere. Now, this is where things get a little bit more exciting and potentially more complicated, so try to follow along. You're going to need to drop the photoshopped file that you've just changed into a layer roughly somewhere in the middle of your layers panel, so that you can put things both on top and underneath it. Now, here's my secret weapon. It's called Footage Crate. It's a company that makes assets like fire, explosions, zaps, smoke, and, more importantly for this project at least, snow, rain, and other things. We'll get to that a bit later on. So, we need to do a few things like storm clouds, lightning, various rain effects depending on how much rain we want to portray, and the same with snow. You'll also notice here that a lot of these say the clips loop. And this is awesome, and it's one of the reasons that I love Footage Crate. They have clips that start and finish on complementary frames, meaning that they're seamless. So when the clips are duplicated and butted against each other, it makes the editing so much easier. So I just grabbed a whole bunch of these. I bought a new 4TB hard drive as well, by the way, specifically for my footage, because I was finding it hard to keep organised, and having enough space was proving pretty difficult. Let's move on then. Import all of these elements into Premiere or whatever you use to edit your videos, and you'll notice immediately that some of the layers suit going in front, while some are better behind. Storm clouds go behind, rain or snow or whatever goes in front. I was a little bit cheeky with this one too, because I added a shooting star flare that I'll combine with a jingling sound effect and a ho 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 to make it feel like Santa is flying overhead. Okay, so next thing I needed to do is to take my list and see if there is anything missing. There was. I'll get back to that in just a second. There were a few little bits and bobs, so I'm not actually going to show one of them, not all the way through at least, because I just don't want a copyright strike on this video, and the sound of a TARDIS taking off and landing might just do that. I also wanted to show it a bit later on, but for now, let's just say that my magical pub is going to act a little bit like a TARDIS. I'll show that video at the end so that you get the idea. Let me try to do the sound effects. Well, that was fun. This window will be controlled through a series of buttons behind the bar, as well as a tap of a magic wand that I'm making. Each video, for simplicity, will be a fairly long one on a loop and stored on a silent solid-state storage device like a hard drive or something like that, and then linked to, again, a silent Raspberry Pi. And that's all quite important because in a closed space you don't want a sound of fans and stuff like that. It's all going to be connected to the house speaker system, and I'm definitely going to need to sculpt a few more little details into the frame and just add some more stuff to finish all of this stuff off. I'm going to do that in another video because this one's going to be getting a bit too long otherwise. I'm going to close out this video though with a bit of a medley of the window video. Before we get to that, thanks so much for watching. If you did like this video, click that like button. It tells YouTube that it was a good video and more people should see it. Remember to subscribe and ding that bell so you never miss out on a single magic minute. A huge shout out to these amazing people. These are my patrons and members from YouTube and Patreon, and they help me out so much. If you want to help me out too, follow the links down below, and I'll genuinely love you forever. Okay, so let's get on with showing you all of these scenes. Feel free to use them, by the way. Okay, so this is just a standard daytime snowy background scene. It's also got morning, or sunrise, and roughly midday as well. Now what we're going to need is a little bit of snow, and then a blizzard as well. Okay, so we've got those two sorted. How about adding a little bit of rain? There we go. Of course now it can get dark. Now if all the precipitation like snow and rain stop and it becomes dark, it looks something like this. And then we have the shooting star to make Santa fly overhead. Or a bit of rain with a storm background, and this one I think is probably my favourite. Then you can add a blizzard. This is by far the most dramatic. Of course, with or without snow, you can also have the northern lights as well. What I found is, with all of these combinations, there's lots of different ways of orientating this video. So you could have a different type of northern lights, a subtle one or a dramatic one. You can have it snowing or not snowing, raining at the same time or not raining at the same time, different types of rain, whether it's windy rain or not, whether it's daytime, nighttime, cloudy sky, clear sky. There's lots of different ways of doing this. But the other thing that I wanted to do was the Tardis background. And so, here we go with the Tardis. Now again, I'm not going to do the sound effect, but it looks something like this. So there's an explosion to get us started, and then we're travelling through the time vortex, and then the explosion comes back, and we're back where we started. Of course, you could always change it to a different background. All of this depends on your own skill level and your own editing, and basically where you want to be in your window. So that's your lot. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be back next time with some more magical awesomeness, but until next time, as always,
Very magical.
I was a little cheeky with this too because I added a shorting star. What's a shorting star? Remember to subscribe.